This is Margaret Ann Windsor, my real name. I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace, 41, brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. Both twins were dead, Peggy and Carl, and their mother had killed them. They were born out of wedlock. This is my dad, the real King Edward VIII, real quick. This is Wallace that married a imposter and became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. There was George, the illegal George the Sixth, my dad's brother. He helped take down my dad with the New World Order, and Joe Kennedy, who was appointed ambassador to England by Roosevelt that I just showed you. So George and Roosevelt are there in 39 planning my kidnapping in 41. Joe Kennedy was ambassador. That's JFK's daddy. And by the way, there's a book called When England Slept that was written by JFK. He and his brother Joe actually had run of the place during my kidnapping and taking down of my father. He even states that he and his brother went into the embassy, etc., etc. Now then, I don't know how I was brought to Moulton, Alabama, and dropped off in the pigsty hell. But I know that the Cortland Air Base was being built or built there by the time 41 rolled around. So I can only guess they flew. I doubt they personally flew me in there, but Joe Kennedy, my uncle, the New World Order, the Jews, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, all helped in it. They're called the Illuminati New World Order, which is, Elizabeth is a member, and Charles. And pays to be a crook, doesn't it? People adore you, and she's living off of my money and hell and sold out the Brits. Now then, the part I was going to connect here is I tried to tell it on the other tape, and I have to give background because I don't know who's just picking up this tape and they don't know where I'm going. So I have to give a little background on it. I have an immune disorder, and I put that on the other one, and it's I'm allergic to chemicals, and I'm allergic to a lot of them, and since I've been force-fed them since '86 in places when I had a place to live, it's increased my, if you want to say, sensitivity, and it causes inflammation all over your body. So it's basically torn my body apart, and the quality of life that I've lived has been sheer hell. And you can't go to anybody. The places I've gone have been pre-done, and I had no other place to go, like Edinburgh. I'm saying this again so you know. These are Section 8, so they should be prosecuted under the judicial system up there where Eric Holder is. Well, and Obama, remember when, I'm not saying anything against Trayvon Martin's parents, but real quick, they got up and they had marched. It wasn't any time. The media covered it. The media doesn't touch me or any of this because they're controlled by the very people kidnapped me, the Rockefellers. It's not to their advantage to tell about it. Only if it's force-fed one day, I'm on YouTube. Hopefully somebody does something. Wonder how they're going to explain it with all the stuff that's going on now. Anyway, I don't want to use up this time. Melinda's Melody is in Christiansburg, Virginia, where I reapplied. It's owned by Moore. He's a black minister out of Washington, North Carolina. He owned Joseph's Dream in Bedford, where I lived a short while, and they did my veins. They put it through the ventilation system, or in the cases, some cases where it looks good that I'm getting room service, or not room service, but the room clean, housekeeping once a week. They come in and they demand I have to do it. Who do I go to? The cops? They're telling them to do it. So I've learned over a period of time, I suck it up, and by God, I hope I live to see the truth told before the whole world, before the whole world, and see how it goes, how it works for you then, America, and Elizabeth, and some of the Windsors, and your New World Order. So I'm going to go back to, I've shown these, it was Richfield. These are federally funded, is what I'm trying to say. Richfield, Edinburgh, and Joseph's Way, or Joseph's Dream. It was on Joseph's Way in Bedford. But it was also owned Melinda's Melody, where I applied after all that happened, and I'm back in Bedford. And I was just illegally turned down. They've made up lies. You would not get the truth. Not only has my, I'm not able to use my name, you should see the lies that they've made against me. Now, I'm going to, all these people knew it, the managers, the people that participated, all of them. I can't get an attorney. And this is what I'm going to say, because this one's going out. The Affordable Corporate Suites. And by the way, that's where I've had to come back to now, a different one on Northern Drive. And I don't know how long I'll be here, and I can't even walk. But I was taken there, and this is where she even told that I paid my rent on time. I shouldn't even have to say that. But I stayed there for 17 months. And the retired Virginia State Trooper brought me down there from Roanoke Mountain, where I was camped legally in a national park, paying and everything. And that night, someone poured fuel on my tent, Sierra tent. It was very hard. I've been kept penniless to get that. And I had to sleep out or sit outside on the picnic table the rest of the night. And it looks like they're doing me a favor until you understand that this is orchestrated and carried out with everybody knowing it around here and in Atlanta and Huntsville, etc. She brought me here August the 14th of '09, and I'll say this, a couple of weeks later, response to that was a mind control murder of, I think his name's Tom Childs, Childs, take off on the Childers name. It was a mind control murder, and his daughter Heidi and her friend, both students at Virginia Tech, were shot in the forest, Jefferson National Forest, with a rifle kill, and nobody's paid for that. But I'm telling you, it was a mind control murder, and they know it too, believe me. But anyway, I'm going to go back to this. They have soaked me in chemicals. They've been committed murder over a period of time, and nobody pays for it. I do want to put this. I want to show this one. This was Ron Sizer, Troutville, near the trail. In fact, the trail run right in front of his huge land. It was like being out in the country almost in Troutville. He had this beautiful old home. He had two Jags, brand new sitting. And I'm going to skip real quick. I'm paying his electricity bill, part of it, and I don't know it. He's hooked up. It's a guest house that his mother lived and died in. I will say this, before I went there, in November 22nd, I believe, of, when it's here, 9, 8. And then he came by and gave me a phony. How did I know it? There were police to back it up, 3 or 4 cars there. When he gave me an eviction notice, no reason, this is going out. He took my money. I left. Stayed there 4 months with no heat most of the time, nothing. He states here, and he kept my deposit and everything. I mean, you should see what all he said. He made up things you wouldn't believe. In reality, and he ended up saying I owed him $900. In reality, he killed me with chemicals, and I just Googled him, Ron Sizer, Troutville. His relatives are all, there's a bunch of them in Troutville. I never stood a chance. And by the way, I also, with that, you have to know what he did to me there and the lies using chemicals. But it's hard to tell it and try to give